In this video, a stupid sticker unit, the world's greatest horn show, and someone illegally parked the Mona. There is no intro because the second we got out of the car, this intermodal was already leaving. Anyway, hi. Me and a friend got up at 4 a.m. to head down to Cumberland, Maryland to do some rail fanning before we go on an excursion on the Western Maryland Scenic RR. But more on that later, because I need to comment on this fresh CM44AH that was so shiny it reflected the morning sun everywhere, most notably in my eyes, on this freezing morning. We thought that this coal train was going to pass us going west, so we moved farther down from the CM44, but to our surprise and horror, it turns out that these two engines were DPUs and the train went away from us. We were then left alone on Gulf Memorial Drive, and since we heard a lot of talk about an eastbound on the radio, we moved to a bridge south of town, or east of town, if you're following the railroad's direction. And with a little help from Initial D, we beat the DPUs of the coal train to the bridge where we could actually get a good shot of that shiny CM44. A little while after the coal train cleared, we heard distant GEVO noises coming from behind us, so we moved from the other side of the bridge to find a manifest with a sizable consist stop right in front of us. Take a good look at this consist, because this won't be the largest lead power set of the day. Well, as it turns out, this manifest was waiting for Amtrak 30 to zip by. ALC 42 number 336 was leading 30 today, and 336 and 339 are my first two ALC 42s. ALC 42s have been around for over 2 years and have been integrated into many lines, and not one of them was a line that I railfan on. Also waiting on Also waiting on Amtrak 30 was another manifest that had two GP40-2s and a road slug in tow. I want you to take a good look at this consist too, because this is still not the biggest power set of the day. Once this guy finally cleared, the initial manifest was allowed to creep into the yard. By this time it was getting close to our Western Maryland train's departure, so we headed across town to hop on. Well, we had to fight a half-hour-long battle for parking because apparently everyone in the state of Maryland was boarding this train. I swear, dude, every spot within 5 blocks of the station was taken. There were people parked in front of dumpsters, on fields, and even inside of a roundabout. Departure time was fast approaching, so I kinda had to park in a handicap spot. Hey, I was technically allowed to be there because I had a paper cut on my right pointer finger when I parked there, okay? I was handicapped. Anywho, upon walking up to the station platform, we were greeted with two beautiful, majestic, and backlit as hell Dash 8s. Actually, this reminds me, I never told you guys about the one model train I own. I currently have an LMX-8 that I'm going to customize into Connecticut Southern 8530. The prototype locomotive has a nickname in the area, as told to me by a fellow railfan. 8530 allegedly goes by the name of Bay. I did break the conductor's side window flap, but we're going to gloss over that. Bay has been an absolute workhorse around the layout, and I've found that it's perfect for both switching and mainline ops. Here's Bay's first steps in the same convention I got her at. I got Bay at the Altoona Model Railroaders Association's N-Scale weekend in Altoona. This year, the show was on the 14th and 15th of September in the Blair County Convention Center. Here's their website, and please do consider coming to check out the show and in turn help out my club. Or at least the club that I'm a part of. I can't say it's my club. Yet. Here's Bay double-heading with my friend's Carload Express SD60M. I also ordered a pack of 15 rolling stock, which has yet to arrive. But as I was saying earlier, please consider checking out the Altoona Model Railroaders Association. We have open houses every Friday from 7 to 10. Alright, back to Cumberland. While waiting on the platform, I noticed that there was a yard job passing a visible area across town, and my camera genuinely surprised me at how well it can clearly zoom. It's got a 20x optical zoom that's so good I can read the numbers on the number boards from almost a half mile away. At that point, it was finally time to board our train. Since we were AREMA students, our group got into the private car in the back of the train, which even came with a bar and an open vestibule to look out the back of the train. Me and the boys spent the entire ride both ways in the vestibule between our car and the next. Since the Western Maryland paralleled CSX's Keystone sub for a little bit, we saw a stopped coal train waiting for clearance into Cumberland Yard. And as my friend mentioned, by pure random chance, the second engine was a CSX Spirit of West Virginia stupid sticker unit. To calm down, I filmed some B-roll of our rail cars rolling down the right-of-way and the Dash 8 leading our train polluting all over the place. Switching sides, we passed some maintenance of way equipment a little down the line, and once we arrived in Frostburg, I stepped out to get some B-roll of our locomotive until it was time to turn 558 around on the turntable, and oh my god, was this the best horn show in my entire life. Seriously, listen to this. I don't think I'm getting a horn show like that for a long time. I then switched ends of the train to film 558 coupling up to the other end of the train. Alright, come on, let's speed this up. And stop. Then a few of us climbed the hill to take a nice photo of 558 and the nice view. While we were up there, one of my friends started trolling the people in the cab with his drone. After taking some more B-roll, we hopped back on the train to head back to Cumberland. While hanging out the window on the way back, I noticed an old signal bridge that was still standing over the right-of-way, and further down the line there was a tunnel, and my god was the Dash 8 loud as hell. We could barely hear each other's voices in the rest of the road. And of course I had to film us going through Helmsetter's Curve. Once we were in Cumberland, I took interest to this Clinchfield coal hopper sitting in the middle of nowhere, and at this point our Western Maryland ride was over, but we still had more rail fanning to do. We first went down to the Cumberland turntable where I found one of CSX's SD23 T4s. Most people think these engines are ugly, but I absolutely love their wackiness. I then turned to my left and see 1897, the Monon Heritage Unit. This is now my third CSX Heritage Unit along with the P&LE and the Western Maryland, which is very topical. We then headed over to the Cumberland turntable where we saw a splattering of CSX engines waiting for repairs or servicing. Also, right in front of us was an AC-44 with a broken windshield and a busted up front grille. I couldn't find anything on why this engine is busted up though. We then heard a train pulling into the yard next to us and walked around the corner to see a 6-engine cold train. This is the train that was the largest power move of the day. We were going to move spots to catch this guy, but we realized that they were doing a crew change, so we ran over to the Cumberland deadline to film that. I've mentioned before that I have a spreadsheet that lists all the trains I've ever seen and a bunch of info about it, but I do want to say that making this log has kind of ruined rail fanning for me in a weird way, because now whenever there are a bunch of trains like this all over the place, I now quote-unquote have to get a picture video of all of them to get their numbers so I can put them in the log, instead of just putting a placeholder because I can't see the number. So this has created a bit of a weird thing where I go around getting the numbers of all the engines and deadlines like this so they can be entered into the log instead of just taking a picture of the whole thing and not worrying about getting all the numbers. But that's not to say this log is a bad thing. I actually really recommend that you do something like this because it makes your life so much easier. What I mean is, let's say you wanted to find a specific train video to show a friend but you can't remember when you saw it. With my log, all I have to do is Control F the number and it will instantly give me the date when I saw that engine. With my log, all I have to do is Control F the number and it will instantly give me the date of when I saw that engine. Also, it gives you a history of every engine you've seen so you can say stuff like, oh yeah, I saw 8103 after it was involved in the East Palestine derailment. I'm not joking, that's actually true. Also, I recommend getting started soon before you add more trains to the list of trains you need to add in your log. I currently have about 13,630 cells filled, and I started mine in 2022, when there was only 2,300 cells I needed to fill. Imagine my pain if I had to fill it out completely right now. Here's the info I collect in my log. Date.
I forgot to say railroad. I don't know how I managed that because the railroad column is literally the most colorful part of the spreadsheet. That's why I'm adding text to speech here. Anyways, let's continue with the list.
Engine models, engine numbers, location, state/country, direction, symbol, commodity, and any notes about the shot. My log is in the description of every video and is completely viewable, so if you ever have a question of when was that video taken or where was it taken, you can search it up in the log. Anyhoozles, after perusing the deadline, we headed over to Baltimore Street, which inexplicably does not lead to Baltimore, to catch that big power move. This is the biggest consist I've ever seen leading a train excluding multiple unit trains, as confirmed by my log, which is another bonus of a log. After this, we were getting pretty tired after having been going since 4 AM, so we both headed home. This trip was super fun, most importantly because I got to see colors on an engine for once. Recently, I've been seeing a lot of black and white. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go clean the bathroom. Thank you for watching, have a wonderful day.